And gentlemen, thank you for joining us for a talk with Finn Wolfhard in conversation with Jay Baruchel. We are presenting this today in celebration of Finn's move into full-on storytelling as a writer and director with his fantastic short film Night Shifts, which we were very proud to premiere in this year's lineup. And it's still available for viewing up until the very end of the fest, so do check it out. It's well worth your time. And now, without further ado, it's my pleasure to turn the virtual stage over to Finn Wolfhard and Jay Baruchel.
Hi, gang.
What's going on?
Hi there, Finn. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, man. I am, it's easily the weirdest year of my young life so far.
Yeah, right. You don't say. How long has your young life been going?
17 years, almost 18 years.
Hey, nice.
Yeah.
Wait, you're only 17. Good on you, man. Fucking right, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Good on you. Good on you.
I've gotten very lucky to have the career that I have so far. So,
and
yeah.
You got a fucking movie going, and you keep that's because I'm highly impressed because my fucking short I didn't get it going until I was like 20 or 21. So and it looks way crappier than yours does.
What did you? On you. Was that on digital?
Oh, was it ever? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Anyway, yeah. Yours. So tell me, how does it feel, man? And how long had this thing been in your head?
Okay, so I had booked that show or the show Stranger Things when I was like 12, and that was like a crazy fluke that I answered a self-tape call, and before that I had this very long, ever since I was really young, I had this long plan to become like a filmmaker. It was like my thing. Like, I love filmmaking and I love collaborating with people, and that's why I still do it. Is getting together with a bunch of friends and making something, and and I'm sure it's the same thing for you. Like, when you get together with your friends and make a movie, it's really fun, and you wouldn't be doing it. Yeah, it's the best feeling in the world. So I found that out at a very young age, and then I got to do this incredible show, and I got to learn so much on set about filmmaking and about directing. Yeah. And so yeah, and then last year I was shooting the new Ghostbusters, and Jason Reitman, I don't know if you know Jason.
Yeah.
But so Jason, we were talking, and he the first things he ever did were shorts, and so I was talking about making movies, and he just said, well, just write a short, like it's the best thing you could do. So I came in and I gave him an idea, and I came in really excited, and I was like, okay, I got an idea. It's about a guy who wakes up in a silent film, and he has to scream really loud to get out, and blah blah blah. And he goes, so the first thing you pick is a medium that's dead, like the biggest budget ever, just so complicated. Why would you do that? I was like, I don't know. And he was like, just have one location and two characters talking to each other, like that, like have a conversation. And then I have my older brother's 5 years older, and he has been out of high school for a bit, and sometimes we'll be out in public and he'll see friends from high school, and it'll just be kind of just weird. And I'm sure, I just graduated high school, and I feel like I'd feel weird if I saw people, from high school even now. Sure. It's only been like a month, like a month.
Yeah.
So, and then I was thinking about, I was just thinking about this thing, like, what's the most uncomfortable interaction you can have with a person from high school? And I was like, oh, robbery. And then I kind of based it off, and I during the production of Ghostbusters, I met two people who, one of them, Billy, has become like my writing partner, who like we're fully doing stuff together, and then Artoon, who's this amazing actor who I met also on Ghostbusters. Awesome. It kind of just formed, and Malcolm, plays the cop and is like old family friend of mine, is a great actor, and it just it felt in really nice. And like we're at a position. I don't know if you've ever crowdfunded before.
No, I have not.
How
is it?
I don't know if I'll ever do it again. I feel like I'm very happy and I'm like very, very, very surprised that I can just get on social media and ask for people's money and they just will give it to me. And then I feel terribly guilty. So, I don't know. I mean, it's incredible. And we got the budget and it was great. And we got to shoot in this convenience store, and yeah, it was great. I mean, so I crowdfunded it, because like no one funds shorts. I was like, because I think Steven Spielberg's number one thing, I think I heard him say, was like, never ever put your own money into movies.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm not going to do that. And if I have the platform, to crowdfund and to do this, then maybe I'll just take it and try it out.
Yes. So that's good advice that I didn't follow. So I have done that twice. It's very stressful. When you say you feel guilty, do you mean do you think that's just imposter syndrome, or do you feel like there's no movie you could make that would justify their people's faith in you, or do you like what do you?
I gave like incentives, which is essentially like me giving like stuff, like a signed prop or whatever, or right, something that's good. The guilt, it's both. I think it's both of those. It's two of those things. It's imposter syndrome and like, do I really, is this like worth it? I don't know. Is this worth it for other people's?
I get that completely, because it's an art form that isn't just you painting on a canvas, and it isn't just you writing something down. That it is you're doing it with a bunch of people, and so it requires a bunch of people having faith in you.
Yeah.
And that can be kind of daunting. And if you're not like a shithead or a sociopath, you're going to inevitably feel like, I don't deserve this.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I got the great crew together, and I don't, there's a first shot in the movie, which is like this move through the aisles, and it's like a whip pan back.
Beautiful shot.
Thanks. And so that was the first thing we shot, and we were having trouble with it at the beginning, and I could see the crew being like, oh shit, like what did we do? What did we sign up for? Right. And then something happened to where I just was like, okay, and like just zoned in, and then we figured it out in like that moment. But like, it's hard. It's like you have to have your crew be like as close as possible. I don't know. It was my first time like solo. I had like co-directed a music video a few years earlier, like with an older friend of mine that I was also in, like co-starring in, but this is the first time I like wrote something, directed it. So, but I had a lot of good people on it. But so wait, so how far after you did, Undeclared, you did, what's called, it was $1 Million Baby you did, right?
Yeah.
So where in that time, and then you did Almost Famous, which is,
that was the first one. And I was like you, because I started at 12, and I had been saying at that point for 3 years that I wanted to be a director. So when I was 9, I said that to my mom. And when I started at 12, my mom said to me, you want to go to film school? Well, being on set's probably the best film school in the world. Yes,
exactly. That's also what my parents told me. It's the same thing. It's funny. I played your part. We did a live table read called Feminist Live Read that my friend Chandler Levac puts on, who lives in Toronto.
Oh, right.
And we did we did Almost Famous, and I read your part. And I read I read Vic, I think his name is, the Led Zeppelin kid. So now it's all full circle.
That's crazy.
So when did you direct your first short? Was that after Undeclared?
Yeah, it was like the first break on Undeclared. Like I went home. It was like a summer in between or something, and I, it's one of these things where like you want to do this, and I assume you had this too, where I was like a chronic daydreamer and over-imaginer, and I was always just saw little. Sometimes it would be a full sequence, sometimes it would just be a color, sometimes it would be a vibe, but I was always walking around looking at everything as a movie and thinking of little things in my head. But then at a certain point, you get to kind of shit or get off the pot time, right? And I didn't have it in me to put a whole feature script out. And so one night I was listening to a fucking song. I listened to it on repeat, and then this fucking 10-page thing came out of me, and then I found a way to just kind of get her going. And I just like, yeah, I paid everyone out of my pocket and all this shit, and had a blast. And also, like you kind of figure out there's a moment when you get the chance to do the thing you've wanted to do. And it's a scary moment because you're like, oh shit, if I fuck this up, then maybe like I'm not meant to do this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. It's and I'm sure you have this also as an actor and a guy, you've been in a lot of comedic stuff. There's like it's narcissism, but it's also like it's an innate thing of like trying to be a storyteller, which is like when you're in a public situation and something bad happens or an awkward moment, you go out, you're there, but then you go outside yourself and go, oh, this is going to be funny in something.
Yes.
I'm gonna put this in something, which is so fucked up. Like what about the other person who's like actually, like if imagine you're in like like in a breakup or whatever, and or just like an example, something bad happens or someone tells you someone died enough that you think would deem in a funny way in a movie.
It happened to me an hour ago. I saw a Twitter name. Somebody's Twitter name came by me, and I thought it was like simultaneously the saddest and the funniest thing I'd read. And I was like, there's no way I can actually use this at some point. But like, it gave me an idea for because someone's name on their social media is a little glimpse into how they view themselves and the version of themselves they're curating for the world.
Yeah.
So you can get a lot of info from that. But I don't want to talk about my Twitter too long. I want to talk about your awesome movie, which is really beautiful. And everybody who's listening or watching should go and watch it if they haven't. And the thing I was struck by most, Finn, it's really, really smooth and confident and restrained, and it's like you usually have to kind of swing for the fences a bit to find your kind of equilibrium, and it doesn't feel like a first movie is what I'm saying, man. It's really, really good. And
I mostly I think like with the camera movement specifically, like it was a pretty like what's like calculated, like I wanted like all the smooth talking stuff to be on sticks, and then when it gets our tripod, and then when it gets kind of more intense, you go to handheld. Like that was like a pretty, I think that might have to do with it, but also just like the editor Jeremy, who I've worked with, who's an amazing filmmaker in Toronto, named Jeremy Chalin Ryu, who like he put me in the first like thing really I did that was his music video for a band called Pup from Toronto, which are like this amazing band. And I've been kind of collaborating with him since I was like 11. And so he came on set and like really kind of helped me, he was kind of like the net a little bit, like if I ever, and so he, and then he edited it, and like we edited it together, and it was this great kind of family thing.
That's the best, right?
So lucky.
Because it's not a short story or a novel, right? It's a collaboration, and so it has the fucking fingerprints of everyone involved on it.
Right. And I also wanted it to be like, I truly, like I made it on purpose to be like short. Like I really wanted it to be a short. I wanted it to come in with something like weird and like jarring and interesting, and then go into comedy and then end with a button. And I wanted that to be fast. Like I wanted it to be like 3 minutes, and I wanted to be in and out. That's what I think short should be. I think like when I see a 45-minute short, I get so annoyed.
No, that's not you're right. Same. Because at that point, it's not a short. It's a pilot for a TV show. Like I don't like get why. Like I have, I agree completely. And that's the other thing that's really cool. And the other thing that told me it was restrained and doesn't feel like a first go is that like most people, part of the finding your sea legs seems to be able to, part of that seems to be looking at yourself and cutting the fat off of it. And a lot of creators, when they first get going, they're so in love with any idea that comes out that they're precious and can't do something distilled and concentrated and you did that, and it ends up being super impactful.
I got some like pretty good. Thank you, first of all. I got some good advice from Sean Levy, who's producer, and he said I had an idea a few years ago that I told him about, and he gave me some of the best advice, which was like, just because you have an idea doesn't mean it's the idea.
That's right. Well said.
Like, you can have amazing ideas, but like, it doesn't mean you have to like make it. You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
not every song needs to be written, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a bunch of songs that I would argue shouldn't exist. But I think we have some of the gang that you made the thing with here with us. So let's bring them all in. So these are all, why don't you introduce everyone and tell us who they
are. Okay. You guys want to turn your cameras on? Billy, Artoon, Malcolm. Oh,
what up?
Look at these handsome boys. Hey. Okay, so we got Billy on is in the LA hat. We got Artoon is in the beautiful what is that?
Jeans, little Canadian tuxedo, because I'm not in Canada, so bringing my Canada with me.
And you got Malcolm in the deep V.
Oh God. I didn't even realize I was wearing a deep V. That's horrible.
No, it's fine.
Terrible way to start off.
Listen, I'm wearing, I don't know.
It's a nice V.
Okay, so as I was saying before, I met Artoon and Billy on the set of Ghostbusters, who played parts in it. I've known Malcolm since I was a baby.
Really?
Yeah. So Malcolm's younger brother, Noah.
I'm just grabbing my phone. I'm just grabbing my charger. Like,
okay.
I'm listening. I'm a terrible host.
Oh, you
Malcolm.
Yes, dude. Malcolm. Yeah, Malcolm's younger brother. Went to school with my older brother, so we're all family friends, and his younger brother is also like one of my best friends, Cole. So, and Faith, who is Malcolm's sister, produced the short film. So she was like the.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So she's an incredible producer, Faith Sparrow Crawford. And yeah, we just shot this thing in Vancouver, and Artoon and Billy flew in. Artoon from LA, and then Billy came from Toronto, and you guys stayed in a casino, right?
That's right. Yeah, exactly right. Made some money that night. Oh yeah.
Guys down. What happened? Up, down?
Up, dude.
Up, baby.
Up.
We only go
up, baby.
Yeah.
Holy fuck! All right.
Yeah.
Still down on 11.
We were doubling down on 11 a lot, dude. I literally had just watched Swingers, and that's the only thing I knew about gambling. And I was like, I think we got it.
And you said there was wonton soup there too, right, at the casino?
Yeah, we said we treat ourselves to wonton soup if we're up, and we treated ourselves to some wonton soup.
Wow, the dizzying heights. My God.
Look at these. I know. So we and we just did this thing, and I mean, the characters' names are all them except for Malcolm. Yeah. His name is Elijah. I don't know why I just didn't change it, but I just did.
With it. It's your
yeah. He was really in character. And it was a really.
How long did you have?
How long did we have? We had a night. We had how long did we shoot that in? It was
like 12 hours.
12 hours.
One night.
Yeah.
Damn. Good on you guys.
Yeah. We had fun. There was what's called? We were raw. We were okay, so here's the story. Halfway, or we started at Billy's when Artoon comes to the door and Billy puts his hands up. Billy rises from the thing. We're on Billy's coverage, and all of a sudden we hear the door open and we look, and I'm kind of looking, and I have like this little monitor, and I'm looking, and Artoon and this guy comes in with a hoodie, and it looks like what has a gun, right? So he holds up this thing, points it at Artoon. Artoon has a fake gun. By default, or by, I don't know what it was, Artoon raises a fake gun to the other guy, right? So now they're looking at each other with two fake guns. Everyone is completely silent. What is happening? Like, what the fuck is happening going on? Billy's like watching this. We're all watching this. The guy goes, okay, and he leaves. And then what we found out was this guy was like, I guess, crazy. Either he was like going in actually to rob the store but he made this gun out of like bicycle springs. It was a fake gun. And we all were like, what was that? And we all go up to R2 and we're like, what the fuck was that? He was like, what? And we were like, what a fake. We just watched a fake standoff.
I must commend you, Artune, that your instinct was to aim a fake gun.
And he had a fake gun too. You guys, we watched a fake standoff happen. It was insane. And everyone was so like,
not all heroes wear capes.
I agree.
No.
Some heroes have a fake gun and a balaclava. Billy, and I think Billy said it best. He said, I'm scared. And I said, why? He goes, what if that guy goes and gets all of his friends with their bicycle springs gun and they all come back in a bicycle spring militia?
I felt
well, good. You had Artune there. He'd handle them all.
Exactly.
Take care of it.
the problem was like we had already filmed the part where Artune bursts in and like points the gun at me, and we were like past that, and then some dude actually came in and pointed a gun at me, and I thought, and I realized exactly how I would have reacted, and it made me feel like such shit about what I had just fucking pretended. I was watching the playback, I was like, oh, use that. But then unfortunately, like as soon as he walks in, I'm like, and I just look like this.
Yeah, because when you're actually being robbed, it's not what you don't actually.
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah, and also you don't like whatever you think you're gonna react like. You're not gonna react like that. Like you think you're gonna, go like, but yeah, Billy's reaction was like, I have the footage. I'll see if I can find the footage. It's the best. It's the best foot. It's Billy going like this, looking around like this, like
a sheepish dog.
Yeah.
Dog that's in trouble.
It also only lasted like 5 or 6 seconds. Like it was
an
so
eternity,
quick,
man.
but it
That
was
an eternity.
also my like whole life was right there in that one moment.
insane. Absolutely, I know. And I was like, and as a director, I had to be like, all right, so we're moving on. Like everyone was so freaked out, and I was like, yeah, okay, can we go again? And this time, like, no. Yeah, I don't know. It was. It says, we got a question here that says, what was your favorite part of filming Night Shifts?
All right, yeah, guys.
What do you guys think?
I got nothing.
Yeah, Jay.
That story.
I don't know. I think it was just it was overall just like fun night. Like I came late because I just appear at the end, but I think it was just as a whole, like as a unit, everyone that was there wanted to be there, and you can like feel it in everyone's energy. And then having known Finn for so long, it was like cool to see him in like a different element. And like it was like I got like really proud of the whole situation. I was like, oh, this is really cool, because it's like I've known him since I've known his family since before he was born, pretty much. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, and then I guess meeting Billy and Artune, I guess that was okay as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we already talked about the wonton soup. So
The wonton soup was pretty much
that was probably
what
the
was up for
highlight of
us.
it. Oh, do you mean in the actual filming? I guess because I knew that there was wonton soup
Fuck
waiting
you.
for me the whole time. You know what I mean? No, it was so fun because we had all met in the summer before, the summer before, and gotten to know each other just hanging out in Calgary, and it was it was like so fun. And Artune and I, it was like pretty much the first like movie. Is it the first movie you did?
Yeah.
So and yeah, it was just like this insane experience, and we all kind of just like really got to know each other and everybody, and then just to meet up again in Vancouver was dope.
Yeah, felt like a reunion, which I feel like is rare sometimes. But another fun part for me was that the conversation we're having when we're sitting down, and there was a moment where I remember something was just not working, and I was like getting frustrated, and Finn just came down and was like, this isn't working, is it? And I was like, nah. And he's like, just why don't you try it like this? Like make it funny, or like do this. And it just like it's that moment as an actor that you like crave when the director just gives you a note that everything clicks for you, and you're just like, why didn't I see it? And it was good. It was like a good actor's director.
Here's my
That's
ego.
awesome.
I was I remember that, and I remember it was one of those things. It was the lack of, you have that lack of communication sometimes, and I finally just noticed a pattern, and I was like, okay, and I went in, and I remember it was the Helen Keller line, which it just didn't see in the moment. It was fine. It just didn't seem mean enough. Like it didn't seem like, and I went up to him and I said, "You're mocking him." And that was it. And like, it just took one thing for you to just be like, oh, got it. And you just did it first try. And it just I don't know. It's weird. But I think it's because we're all friends before we know how to talk to each other. I think that's really interesting. I'm sure Jay, you know, because you've worked with Apatow a lot. You worked with Seth a lot, Rogan. And I feel like you know how to talk to these people, and there's a way, you know what I mean?
No,
like
it's a shorthand. That's it for me, and I carry that through everything. Like, and I only ever want to make shit with a bunch of people that are my friends, because to me, all that we do is it's all a version of playing cops and robbers in the backyard with my friends when I was a kid. It's the same fucking thing, exactly the same fucking thing. And so I just find that if you have that much, that if you can get that thing across in as few words as possible, and there's also a comfort level, and you guys enjoy each other's company, and so you show up there, wanting to kind of imagine and find it, and because I also think it's like, if you take it too seriously, it's like the world's goofiest job. Like all of my friends that do like normal shit, this I was like,
normies we
fall
call
down or pretend to be sad or some goofy fucking thing. Like, what the hell is that? So I think that, like, if you're with people that you just understand and you enjoy kind of messing around together, I think you get to do some pretty cool shit.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and also, I think the career path you've had is 100% completely what's super influential on what I do.
Oh, cool.
Because
thanks, man.
I remember I saw it really, really young. I saw Knocked Up like really young, and I remember thinking these guys are like friends, or at least they like each other. At least they like each other enough to keep making stuff together. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and exactly. I saw that at a really young age, and I remember, there's a question here that says, if I wanted to direct a feature film, what genre would speak to me most? And Billy and I are writing a movie right now that we're.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, we're supposed to do a meeting soon about it. It's like this comedy slasher movie that we started writing when we first met each other, and it's weird when we went in to start writing it, we both said, "Oh, we should make a sad movie, like about divorce or something." Which both of our parents together. I don't know why we. And then it turned into a comedy slasher.
I don't know what point it pivoted. We're like, yeah, it's like Squid and the Whale or Meatballs.
You know when?
I guess it was like in between those two.
You know when it started is because I was telling a story about a kid who this is the basis of the movie. I was telling a story about a kid who got expelled from this school because he had a kill, like in Canada, because he had there's a mutual friend of mine who had a kill list of like all the students that if he would, it's like a hypothetical kill list, right? And there was a guy that was like jealous that he wasn't on the kill list. and Billy and I were like, that is the most narcissistic. Like,
you had said that, and I was like, dude, I just wrote that. I had a scene in like my phone notes that was a guy who finds a kill list, and he's like, what the fuck is this? Like, because he thinks that they're killing all the hot kids, so he's like really offended that he's not on it, and then that kind of became the basis of. Like, we gotta just do
the movie we're writing.
that.
It's like this, and it's this big like misunderstanding of like the hot camp counselors and all these things. So we're writing this movie, and like it just started with this joke that we had with each other, and like not just that joke, but like we kept doing this scene of a guy being really bummed that he wasn't being killed because he thinks he's super hot. And then we were like, oh, this is funny. And so we just started writing this movie. And I think a lot of that, and that, you know, we also take a lot of inspiration from, like when I saw This Is the End was originally a short, right?
It was, yeah.
And that was also pretty like, I thought if I make a short and then, you know, put the people that I'm comfortable with in, and then like when I first make my feature, kind of do the same thing, but on a bigger scale, I kind of use that model, right? So,
Cool.
but you guys made that years before, right?
Yeah, it was a while ago. It was like, because we just made it because a friend of ours was graduating from film school in LA, and so it was like his thesis project thing. So we just like, yeah, went out to USC for 2 days and shot this fucking thing, and I made them get me Burger King, and I don't know. Yeah, it was just like
Turned into a movie.
do a stupid thing with my friend, and then people in Hollywood found it, and as they do, they dollar signs, I guess, in their eyes, and yeah, then we got to make this crazy good cool movie that I was convinced was going to be an abysmal failure as we were making it. I like told all my like managers and everybody, I was like, get prepared to never see me in anything ever again. I think I'm in a movie that the world is going to really hate. I was like, yeah, and then I saw it and I was like, fuck, it's really good. But even then, like, my taste means nothing. So then then I was still like, is the world going to dig it? And it ended up being this cool thing. But yeah, I was convinced we were making a 2-hour-long MTV Movie Awards sketch.
Well, the movie is, I can understand why, but also the movie, there's like, it's all based in truth. You know what I mean? Like the whole movie is kind of based in truth. Like I heard Seth say in an old interview that like that was kind of a thing where like Jay would come to LA and not tell me that I was there or that he was there, right? Which is like, to me, I thought was so cool because you guys can actually take that and not be fully offended, but instead of like dishing it out and like talking to each other about it, but like making a movie instead.
Yeah, it's also that's cool. It is, so that one POV of that is that it's like really cool, and the other POV of that is that like we're so fucking insecure and silly that we can't just talk about shit. We have to like make a movie to sort our shit out.
Yeah, exactly.
The fuck, you know. But yeah, no, that's why it's a weird, unconventional fucking film. Here's a Q&A question. Finn and Jay, Finn, what's the biggest challenge you faced in the industry so far?
I'm not sure. It's always, I feel like it's very all specific. I'm still pretty like early into the game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like I've been really lucky. I guess a challenge would be like, mostly it's like this stuff that like comes with the job. Sometimes I get people coming up to me on the street, a bunch, and sometimes that's weird to grasp. I'm always nice to people, but it's always I never know what to do or say or how to act, or that's always
it's an entirely unnatural thing. Like they're and you try to be as cordial as you can because someone's coming to share love and tell you that something you did mean something to them, but at the same time it's also like any other time that a complete stranger would stop you in public, it's jarring. No matter what, no matter how nice it is, it's always jarring.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've had it's nuts. It's very like otherworldly kind of. Like you have it's like people kind of everything that they've learned in their life, social skills wise, goes just completely out the window. Which is fine because I completely am like, I understand it. And like, I get it. I've had, I was in front of an elevator at Comic-Con and Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford came out. And I just by default went like this. And Harrison Ford shook my hand. He's like, I don't know who the fuck you are. And then kept walking. But it's this weird thing. Like I will never really, I mean, you can only get, it's like it's part of like the job, like it really is part of like the craft. I feel like you have to, hopefully by the time I'm hopefully if I still have a career by when I'm 40, I'll have a better grasp on everything and figure it out. But I don't know if anyone really has.
No, and I don't think you necessarily want to. I think that the minute that the stuff that's weird
Becomes not
stops
weird.
being weird, then I think you're kind of fucked. Like I think when, like for me anyway, like if I ever like looked forward to having my picture taken, that's when I just shoot myself. Like I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm useless now. Like if all of this fucking weird, having people, you know, because then that's your fucking vanity taking over, and then you've
Exactly.
lost the plot fucking completely. Because to me, that's the struggle. That's the shit is to like.
Has
For me, the
anything
biggest one is to keep giving a shit, right? Like because if you're, you know, like you and like all of us, like we were all fans of shit before we were acting, and our interest in cinema isn't a function of our need to act. It's the other way around. I found acting because it allowed me to be on set and all this different shit. And so I live and die on this shit. Like, you know, movies are one of the only things that's like spiritual in the world. It's one of the only things I actually still believe in. And obviously this business is
it's
filled
magic.
with snakes.
Like it's
And-
literal magic. It's like
Yes.
crazy.
It's actual magic. And the problem is to get to be a part of that magic, the gatekeepers are often fucking snakes and rats and people that don't give a shit and don't respect it and don't revere the craft and don't know anything. And, you know, so that's it. And it's hard to keep. That's the thing.
I would say that's the challenge. I would say that's the challenge of coming into contact that aren't as stoked as you. That's my biggest problem. Sometimes I'll go into a project and I'll work with some actors or I'll work with whoever, a crew member that just like doesn't want to be there. And I'm always just like, it's always a bummer because like, yeah, you know, you could get it, but it's like, dude, what a bummer. Like, this is so cool. Like,
yes.
and I'm sure, you know, I'm sure you've been on movies where you're like, oh, fuck, this is like a nightmare. Like,
no, sometimes it sucks, but I always know how much worse it would suck if I wasn't doing this.
This is a genuine question because Bill, I think one of our favorite comedies is Tropic Thunder, and what was that movie? Was that movie hard to shoot because of the location?
It was like it beat the piss out of you in a way, just in the way that, like, I don't know, if you have a really good fucking soccer game or hockey game or something, and like you it beats you up, but you're fucking psyched as hell to have done it. Like some gigs are just hard. All of the work is hard. Some gigs, the work itself is fun. It's just heavy. And so like Tropic Thunder was half a year, 4.5 months of which were in the jungle. But I got to play G.I. Joe every day, and I got to shoot a fucking M16, and I got to run around and do all the G.I. Joe shit, but also do funny stuff with like the world's funniest fucking people. And I got like front row seats to Downey and Black and Stiller, and it was the most fun. It was like one of the top 5 most fun gigs I've ever had. It was the best. I gave myself fucking tinnitus and blew out my eardrums, but aside from that, it was fucking awesome.
Well, everyone got super sick, right? Too,
except for me. And I
How?
think, okay, so it was leptospirosis. Leptospirosis is this god awful. So the island in Hawaii we were on, Kauai, it's the wettest place in the world. It rains on average 12 times a day there, and it's this beautiful green wonderland. Every animal in God's creation shitting on it. 12 times a day, rain comes to push it down. So when you're in the mud up to your knees, there's a ton of animal shit in there. And a bunch of people got really sick, and then I didn't, and a few others didn't. And I was like, I remember the moment when I realized why I didn't get sick. I was like equal parts really proud and really ashamed of myself, which was like, I've grown up with cats and I've cleaned litter boxes since I was a child, and I'd be lying if I said I washed my hands every time I cleaned the litter box when I was a kid. And so I just developed a fucking tolerance for this shit, which is horrible.
That is so fucked up.
It's so
What?
gross.
I mean, you kind of won.
Yeah, oh, I definitely did. And I didn't put on bug spray once. And I didn't get bit. And at a certain point I was like, do the bugs know something I don't like? Is the ecosystem know to just not take my blood?
Dude, your blood is poison to them.
Yeah, apparently.
What? So you shot? That was and then what? You were in LA for another 2 months?
Yeah, it was 4.5 months in Hawaii, and then another 2.5 months. It was basically Canada Day to American Thanksgiving. So it was a
Whoa.
long fucking, yeah, it was a biggie. But it was the best also for me because Stiller was really kind to me, and he knew that I wanted to be a director. And so, and he had a lot to worry about. He wrote, directed, produced, starred in, like he had enough shit to worry about, making sure that he found time to like talk to me about the setup. You know, he didn't need to do that. And yet he always made sure to bring me over to the monitor, tell me the fucking blocking, the composition of the frame, and had nothing to do with what I had to do. It was just he knew I would dig it, man. And like the big opening fucking battle sequence, that was my first day of work. We started with that shit. There's the coolest thing in the world to just turn around. There's 50 stunt performers just blowing the fuck out of each other, and 2 actual helicopters just strafing your position. Like the best.
Yeah, that
Ever.
it's something that I look at. Also, it's the same thing we were talking about before. It's like it's these incredibly funny people who obviously like each other and know each other.
Yeah.
And
It was special. It was a special one. And anybody who treats my mom nice is like real good in my books. And like my mother, like, because she didn't have a fucking digital camera and didn't know how to take photos on her phone, so she would just cart her whole laptop around with her to take shots on photo booth. And so there's a whole run of photos of everyone just taking photos with her. Nobody gives a shit. Fantasia fans, this is not why you're turning in. But here, let's finish it off with, here's a good question. I wanted to ask you this from the start anyway, Finn. Biggest inspiration as a director, like who clearly there were moments that you were trying to emulate. Like I know when I make a movie, I think back to my favorite movie watching moments. I think, okay, that butterflies in my stomach, that fucking magic, that shit, that's what I'm trying to create. So what are those for you, and who are your heroes for this shit?
I would say like Wes Anderson, huge for me. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, huge. Ben Stiller, huge. Who else? Billy and I share a lot of the same. Billy, like you could also attest to this.
You talk a lot about Edgar Wright too.
Edgar Wright is huge. I mean, this is more for me now. I've been watching a lot of like Cassavetes films, which
ones do you like?
I like his first movie Shadows a lot. And I love Husbands. Husbands is crazy. But and Opening Night I think is so underrated. I think no one talks about Opening Night enough. But stuff like that. I mean, it's like really, the movies, but I would say, yeah, the people that really, really influenced me are
Spike Jonze too.
Spike Jonze. Oh, Spike Jonze, like PTA, Charlie Kaufman, like just tons of incredible,
like the fucking kind of magical realism shit.
Exactly. And I think I think in my mind, like I want to blend the magical realism with funny, like to me, my favorite thing is putting characters in a situation that's serious with surrounding it with comedy. So like what's a serious situation is like a robbery, but then putting comedy around it. Or it's like, it's the same thing with like how Seth and Evan have it. You have, this is the end, it's an apocalypse. So you have a really like dark thing, but then you have these really comedic characters coming in. And if I can blend that with magical realism, that's like the ultimate goal. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
cool. Absolutely.
And
then you're in Doctor Strangelove territory.
Yeah. Then I mean, that can't. I don't think anything could beat that. But
no, nothing ever will. But that's the goal, I think. Yeah.
Oh, have you seen The Killing before?
No, I know. I have to. I haven't seen it yet.
It's the best. I'm like the millionth person to say that, but
No, but it's one of those ones that like we all have them. The shit that you somehow just didn't find the time yet for. But I know I have to make space. Fellas.
Yeah.
Final. Let's go in a circle. Actually, circle. We're not actually geographically located, so I don't know how that would work. But let's just like I'm gonna say each of your names, as people often do in conversation. And when I say your name, tell me one final fucking thing about night shifts. Artoon.
Final thing. There were so many prop chick bags, and that fucking blew my mind. There's so many fake chips. It was awesome. That was amazing.
Good, a lot of fake chips. Malcolm?
It was a fun time. That's terrible. No, but I mean, it was a bunch of guys being dudes, a bunch of dudes being guys. It was just fun. Everyone that was there had a smile on their face, even though it was like cold outside. And half the time I was standing outside in the cold waiting to come back in. And I was like, I'd rather be here than on my couch.
Absolutely. And you got to see a guy direct a fucking movie.
Exactly. Yeah. Someone I've known for his whole life. So it's great.
That's the best. Billy?
There was one line in the movie that got cut that Finn and I thought was really funny, and nobody else laughed except for the one guy whose job it was to just make sure we didn't like break anything in the convenience store, the owner's son. And we made the joke and there was total silence. And then the one guy in the back just laughed really hard. And we were like, who's that? Let's fucking get this guy involved.
Is that was when the doomsday clock?
The doomsday clock joke, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No one thinks it's funny. There's this thing that came out that was like this doomsday clock, I guess. Like it had to do with like energy. I don't like, because Artoon's character rides a bike, and like there was this whole joke about
okay, it was part of the green. It was
part of the green thing. And he goes, you're riding a fucking, you're riding a bike and you're robbing a convenience store. He goes, the doomsday clock is 10 seconds away or something like that. And no one thought it was funny except for us. So yeah,
except for and fucking Kenny at the back of the store.
Exactly. You live for that. You live for the Kenny.
Yeah.
I guess I would be last. I want to do this for the rest of my life. I really do. I think it's the best feeling in the world, and if I can do it successfully, that's great. And if I don't do it successfully, I think I'm gonna keep doing it.
Fucking right. That's the whole thing. Attaboy. That's what I'm happy to hear. It's gonna sound super corny, but it does my heart good to see like everything's in good hands. You know, I'm really, really, really proud of you. You've made us proud up here for a long time, and this is just adding to it. And happy to finally get to chat with you, man.
Yeah, I'm so excited that we got to do this, and thanks Fantasia for doing this all.
Thank you, Fantasia. Thank you, Mitch. And thanks for everybody who tuned in and watched. And go out there and be good humans and be safe and do whatever the fuck you do on your Saturday.
Yep. All right. Later.
See you, gang.